Hey, hi, and welcome. Okay, what you're looking at here is a MSR water purification, water filter, water strainer, whatever verbiage you want to pick here. But basically, if you're out camping, I'll put this whole unit together and stuff like that. I'll just show you what I have. The only thing I'm missing from the kit is a little book right now. And I'll put it together and I'll show you how it works. It's kind of dirty, and like I clean this thing once in a while just to kind of test it out and stuff like that. Maybe I'll get some outdoor footage with this at some point, showing you how it works. Right now we're in July. We are the 13th, right? I don't camp in July because July is usually either too hot or it's either like, is it going to rain? Right now we're kind of we're on the, just coming out of a heat wave going into like really nice, like it's 19 degrees today. It's like perfect Canadian temperature, no humidity. Dog loves it, cats love it. I love it. But when I'm out camping, I have this, this jug here. And I bought this whole unit a while back, and here's the filter. As you can see. That one's still good. It's good for, I believe, I don't have all the specs on, from memory. I bought this back in 2003 maybe, and basically that filters about 2,000 gallons of water to purify it. So where do you use it? Why do you use it? And whatever. Check out the seals and stuff in there. There's a plunger in there. I don't know if you can really pick up on it. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Maybe I'll sort of see it there. Whoop. You sort of see the plunger. And there's seals in there and stuff like that. And the seals go after a while too. They'll dry out, they'll rot, whatever. I believe I paid $85 for, and here's the bag it comes in, so got ripped up a bit. When I go camping, this is what I take with me anyway. That's the lid. And these are for basically cleaning. I'll show you how it all works. And then these scour pads come with it. But basically, I take this camping with me for a couple of reasons. Now, there's a lot of ways you can filter water. Now, the boil method, we'll talk about the law of threes first. So the law of threes, 3 minutes without air, the average person dies. 3 days without water, the average person dies. 3 weeks without food, the average person dies. So we're right now concentrating on the water. So you're walking along and you want some water. So you got a container like this. Maybe you make a little fire and, you boil your water. Once your water hits the boil mark, maybe you know this, maybe you don't, but once your water hits the boil mark, your water's safe to drink. It kills all bacterias, protozoas, whatever, protozoa, basically bad stuff that'll make you sick. Beaver fevers, we call it up here in Canada. Malaria, it'll kill. That's what boiling water does, right? And that's fine. But if you're like hiking, or maybe you're bugging out, or maybe you're like on a long distance trail and you need to get from point A to point B a lot quicker, whatever. Maybe you don't have time to stop and chop some wood and make a fire. So this is the next best thing. Now, you always filter your water no matter what you do, even before you use something like this. This will work on a creek or something like that, a stagnant puddle. I would still, if it was stagnant water out of a puddle, I would try to avoid even stuff like that, because that's where stagnant water is where all your bacteria are going to be. Moving water, the idea, like if you've got like a bit of a waterfall, right? That's the best place to get your water, because it's moving, nothing stays stagnant. And you always want to be upstream as much as possible. Why? Because animals poop in the water. And if you're at the lower end, that's where everything's washing to. So, yes, unless you're at the very beginning of the actual water source, you got to make a judgment call, but you get the idea. So if you got like a little bit of a waterfall, that's the best place to do it. But if you're not near that, then you're at, say, like a lake or something, I would still strain with a cheesecloth or something like that, the water that you want, to actually filter, because it'll save your filter. So anyway, what I'll do is I'm going to get this cleaned up and I'll put it together for you. And it's a pretty straightforward thing, and then you'll see how it all goes together, and then I'll show you how it works. All right, g'day and welcome. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it all together, and I'll show you how it works, so hopefully this will go well. So I gave this thing a clean. That's why I take it out about every now and then I clean it. So first thing I want to do is, if I can remember properly, is you take your filter before you do anything. Is a couple things about the filter. So you got a rubber seal there, so you want to give that an inspection. You don't want to handle this too much, but you have a little scraper here that you can put on and scrape it down. You get 2 of these. I don't use it that much because you don't want to wear out the filter. I got to get more filters. You dump that in there like so. It only goes in one way. You can't go in the other way. And you form a seal. You can see it kind of forms a seal here. Now, what you do from here, whoops, sorry, is you screw that on like so. Hopefully I'm in frame here. You don't want to go too tight. Remember, these things are plastic. They're fairly well made, but it's plastic, right? So then you just give it a quick test pump like that. Then what you're going to do, I'll just show you how it works, and then I'll attach the, you have a float here, which you can adjust. So if you want it here, if it's a shallow water, if it's deeper water, you set that whatever. That just kind of keeps this thing bobbing. You obviously don't want it sitting on the floor of the water source. So let's say like this, you want this up a bit, so I'll go like that so he floats a bit, just to keep it up, right? I put that in, and then what I do is I just pump, and you'll feel suction right away. Go easy with this thing. You can see how it comes out the bottom there, right? So that's going through the filter, right? Always find the cleanest water source possible. Okay, some leaking on the side here, so I'll tighten up a little bit more, but sometimes that'll happen. So now it's really forcing through the filter. Again, don't force this thing. Then do that, and then you attach your jug, and I'll tell you why you do it that way. Consider that you're pre-cleaning, and then all you do, this is the whole thing right here. Hopefully it's in frame. I'll try to get you the number side so it looks cooler, like that. And then, like I say, you can see the pump working. Whoop, tighten up. And you'll feel the resistance against it. So the faster you pump, the more easier it is to break. But you can see it just nice and slow and steady. Now, there we go. So just like I say, make sure this is tight enough that you're not gonna strip it. And then I'm hoping I'm in frame here. Tight enough that you're not going to strip it, and go easy enough and slow enough that you're not going to break the arm or the plunger. You break that. Now you can buy parts for these when they're new. So I think that's enough. So now what I do is I got my water and I can drink it. That's damn good water. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, there's going to be a bit of pressure in there, so take that out. Okay. Dump my filter. So you got to push a little bit, because it does create a seal. You can see now how the filter is completely saturated. Okay. Now this filter is soaking wet. I will leave this filter like that to air out. Now, never leave the filter in here for long periods of time. And I'll tell you why. Mold. I lost a filter like that. Then, to clean out this, I just pump the remaining water out of there as much as possible. Once it loses its seal, most of it will just... Yeah, you just basically do that. Now, you can see there's like a little seal thing. Like, these things wear out. Now... when I bought this, Okay, I didn't buy all the parts I needed because they didn't have it in stock or whatever. But anyway, I'll just sum up it in the next video, and I'll put everything all together, and then we'll have a look at it. All right, so anyway, what all I'm going to do is I'm going to let this thing air dry for a bit. This filter will take a long time to air dry, whatever. That's okay. Put all my pieces back. This piece here, you can carry one with you. You get two of them. You can take one with you. You can leave one at home, whatever you want to do. But it just stores like so. Okay, and I'll let that dry. Let that air dry. I'll let this air dry as much as possible. Again. So what I was saying is that if I was going to buy this thing all over again, I think I paid $85 for the, I don't know what they're worth now. I think I paid $8 for this. I had 2 or 3 filters. I already used up a few. You get a scrub pad for the filters, and this is also for to kind of loosely scrub down the filters, but it wears out your filters when you use these things. And then the thing is about the bag, if you're on the go, the nice thing is that the bag has like a lot of ventilation, right? So you can just drop everything back in there when everything dries, and you're good to go. Now this is a specific size. The brands aren't specific for these, but these are like your water jug size. You can get ones that big, long, million shapes and sizes to suit your needs. I found this was a good one. This is a 32 ounce, 1,000 milliliters. The nice thing about the numbers on this, something to keep in mind, hopefully it's in frame there, is that it doesn't really, like, again, approx volume. This doesn't really matter if you're on like a little day trip or whatever, but if you're in a really hot area where you have to monitor how much water you're consuming, that's nice to have that on there. So you can get many jugs like that. But sometimes you can find these things in the dollar store or whatever. I bought it new, it was $8 at the time, or maybe it was 18, I don't know. But I use this for work and everything. I mean, I think I bought this whole kit in 2003. The filters, I do believe I could still get. That said, if you were going to buy one, I would not only buy the kit, but save up for about 10 filters. You can get about 2,000 gallons per filter. This thing is really saturated. It's heavy now. So it's going to take a long time for this to air out. And you have to let them air out or they'll mold on you. That's the whole kicker, right? So you got to let it really air out. These rings, they wear out. I would buy the spare rings. I didn't do that. I should have. But usually what happens is each filter comes with a new ring anyway. So I would keep the old one as a spare in case you get one that's got a dud or something like that and it doesn't seal up properly. And again, the bottom of it is kind of where you can let it dry for this for a little bit, but make sure you let it dry the other ways too, because you want the water to seep out the bottom. A well-ventilated area, obviously, because you don't want it to mold. But the little like plunger kit, you can rebuy that. You can rebuy all these parts. I would buy all that if you were going to definitely, you can hook the hose onto the handle here if you wanted to. You don't have to, but you can if you want. I would buy all the parts you need to keep it running, because sometimes the models change and then the filters aren't exactly the same and whatever. And again, especially that many years after, right? That's like 17 years ago that I bought this kit. But I have used it quite a bit camping and stuff like that, and it's a good investment. It's a good prepper investment. Again, let's say you're bugging out you don't want to be seen. One of the last thing you want to do is be boiling your water, starting a fire to boil water. This will save you. Always do's and don'ts. Don't use muddy puddles. Don't use stagnant water. So whatever, you always want water from the cleanest source possible. A moving source is better than a stagnant source. So a lake is okay. A clean lake is okay. But like a running stream, fast-moving stream, or even just a moving stream period is going to be better. If you see a lot of beaver houses where you are, probably don't take that water. If you see a lot of geese and birds and whatever, don't take that water. Common sense stuff like that. The next thing I would say is just to whenever you use it, is just remember to clean it before you use it. Do a little bit of a prime to kind of clean it out, let it, clean out the tubing on the inside, and then just let it dry really, really well. You can stock up on these if you wanted. If one will do you forever in a day, as long as you don't lose it. Again, I use this for work. I mean, I got my money's worth out of this thing anyway. But I did. It packed away nicely on the kayak. It was, backpack, whatever. It's not a big unit. I mean, the whole unit's this big, and it saves you from having to carry tons and tons of water with you. I will probably do somewhere around near the end of August, or maybe more like September. I'll probably do a camping in the backfield when the flies aren't quite as bad and stuff like that. And then I'll show you all my camping gear and how I use it and stuff. And my camping gear, I tend to go with the more low tech, works no matter what. But even if you want to save your filters the longest and all the parts from wearing out, again, if you can I bring a rag with me. Like, okay, maybe this is the dishcloth and it's a little bit, but something like that with me. A clean one, and usually a secondary jar. And what I do is I scoop my water, okay, out of what I call the loose jug. It'd be something like this. It doesn't have to be anything spectacular. Something like this. I'll scoop it out of there, and there'll be like debris floating around in it and stuff like that. So then what I'll end up doing is I'll pour that. I'll just. I'll grab this cup here just to demonstrate. So I got that. Let's say that's a big jug, about the size of that. Go like that. I pour the lake water into that, or I scoop up the lake water into that, right? And then, or what I do is, the lake water into that jug, and then I pour it through to kind of filter out sticks, twigs, mud, whatever, what have you, before I, suck it out of the container, right? Because that'll save your filter. That's the whole goal, is to save your filter as long as you can, right? And then, like I say, when you let it dry out, it'll dry out in the bag if you have to carry it. But you can also have like this here, like tie it off on your backpack or something like that, so that a lot of air is getting to that filter. Do not leave the filter in here. Like, I mean, you're okay for like a day or so, but probably. But again, it will mold, right? And then you got to go buy another filter. And I can't remember the prices of the filters and stuff. They're going to vary, but they were expensive. I do know that. But I would stock up on the filters, stock up on all the rebuild parts. This is just surgical tubing, hosing, or not quite. It's a vacuum hose, sorry. So it won't suck in, right? So you can buy I buy all that stuff at the first go. It's more of an investment, but then years and years and years down the road, it's good. And let's say one little rubber seal goes in this. If I can't get that rubber seal for this, got to throw the whole thing out. And kind of shame when I could have bought all the rebuild parts years ahead, So yeah, there we go. So that's my water filtration system for camping, bugging out, whatever it might be. It does work. I only use it when I need to. Like, if I'm going on a day hike, I fill this with water from that tap right there, or whatever, and that'll last me the day. Maybe I'll take 2 of these with me. I only use that if I'm going to be gone for a while and I don't have access to water, to save from using it. It's fun to use it, but it's to save from using it unnecessarily and wearing out the filter and stuff like that. Because, like, again, you get about 2,000 gallons. It'll take a long time to pump 2,000 gallons through that, I'll tell you that. But it'll also be something that, these are going to wear out on you. I can't remember how many microns they go down to, but it's enough to catch most bacteria. Now, if you were to boil the water and then let the water cool and then filter it, absolutely, there'd be nothing in that water. But I know a lot of people say boiling is always the best, but it's not always practical. So that's what these things are for. And just to give it a test, I actually drank out of the Ottawa River using the system. I know, just to try it. I didn't die. I didn't do it very often. I just tried it to see if I could notice if there was any taste or whatever. Yeah, lower Ottawa River, and I didn't die. So don't worry, I wasn't down near Montreal or anything like that. It was just in Ottawa. So, yeah, it worked. It worked fine. Again, the cleanest water source you could possibly find. Filter that. And then with like I say, a cheesecloth or something into another source, and then filter it into there, and that usually gives you the longest life on your filter. And that's any system that you get, and there's several on the market, right? And then of course you get that fresh water in there. So anyway, there we go. there we go. Yeah. Have a great day, eh?